Good morning, Glue Troopers. Well, a couple of things today. One, it has been confirmed. Yes, actually, YouTube did go down yesterday for actually quite a while. First I thought, it was maybe had gotten some strikes or something. None of my videos were available, but then nobody's were. I tried it on a couple of different platforms, and ironically, BitChute went down also, which is another kind of competitor for YouTube. They're a bit more problematic, so I wasn't terribly shocked there, but that was interesting. But they got it back up. And real quick, I don't know what I'll be getting done today because I have emergency dental appointment this afternoon, so that's going to disrupt things. I'm just falling in pieces. So, having dinner last night, and yet another issue cropped up. 2020, the dumpster fire that just keeps on giving. So at least I can drink my coffee. And so the next thing I wanted to talk about was I saw that as I was putting the tinkering with the diorama, I was noticing getting the right cameras and everything, and how I'm going to have to set up the green screen. And the idea, since it's all going to be mostly, or probably all going to be still pictures, the style in which they're represented, and of course it's going to be in color, but I was thinking about weathering and perhaps desaturating the color to give it sort of that slightly older film look. And I don't mean like cover it in scratches and grain, just give it enough that it doesn't have the crisp, sharp modern edges, doesn't look so digital. Try to add to the vibe. But of course, if you've seen like the original 53 War of the Worlds, it was filmed in this very rich, I guess it was Technicolor. And but I don't think that would have the same effect using models. A slight desaturation, a little bit of green. But the other thing is this, what they call single point lighting. I have my studio lights, and I can really illuminate the diorama, and that comes in handy for perhaps some things that I'll be doing while telling the story. But the overall, if I just use those single point lighting, it'll give something that might appear to be, I guess for lack of a better word, a little bit more natural. Even once I get everything set up, I'm going to have to do some, and I'll probably be doing some photography experiments just to see what works the best. A lot of things left to do. I said it would take a few weeks to get this done. I'm sure it'll take every bit of that. It's surprisingly difficult for someone who's just basically sitting at home waiting for the phone to ring to stick to a schedule. I thought I was going to do the audio recording yesterday for Brad Leisure, but without boring you with too much of a detail, as you guys, some of you may know, I make models, my wife makes the dolls. Well, she had ordered a small gold Colonel's eagle for one of the costumes, and it was in a little plastic baggie, and she said, I had it here, and we couldn't find it. We wound up spending hours tearing the room apart, her office apart, looking for it. I mean, the whole morning was shot just trying to find this thing. I'm like, it's $2 just to order a new one. But there was also the time, she's supposed to have the doll done in a couple of days, and it was just one of those things that when it got so bad that instead of her, instead of us, I don't want to bore you with too much domestic detail, but I was like, I tell you what, if you want to keep looking, I'll just go get lunch. So I'm sorry. Yeah, I think she was still looking for it. I just went and got lunch, and got some carry out did some takeout because she was just tearing the house apart looking for it. Well, good news, as usually happens, once we gave up, started cleaning the house up, I think that's when I went and got lunch. We just resigned. And then, of course, there were two upsides. One, and I'm sure everyone can relate to this. One, we wound up finding a bunch of other missing stuff we didn't know. Oh, there's that. And we also wound up cleaning up the house because you pull everything out. So you're like, okay. And then when we're all done, then she found it when she wasn't looking for it. Of course, the same afternoon. I was like, so we had a nice takeout lunch. We cleaned up the house. We found a bunch of missing stuff, and we found what we were looking for. But the day was shot. And but then I was able to make my when I went out to grab the lunch, I also got by the hobby shop, and a little bit of, call it irony or whatever. When I walked in the hobby shop in Hurricane Hobbies, when you walk in, the kit models are right there on the left, and I just recently had been talking. I talk a fair bit about Glencoe and Atlantis because I've talked with those guys, and round two, and right there on one wall is a bunch of round two kits, and right there at the top of the shelf there's a bunch of most of the Atlantis kits laid out, and there's the twin UH1s that Kelly Daniel did the artwork on. From doing this channel, instead of just seeing them all, I was like, oh, hey, I know who did that artwork, and I know who did that artwork, and I know who did that artwork, and I know where those are made. And all of a sudden, there's just like this personal connection with the boxes on the shelf. And but I was in a rush, so I couldn't dawdle. But I did take a couple of quick pictures, and I was just like, you start doing this channel after a while and getting to talk to people in the industry, and I had never stopped to think about you going to the hobby shop, and it kind of alters how you see things. And I asked them if they carried any Glencoe kits, and they don't. And I guess maybe their vendor doesn't have them. And I don't know if they were familiar with them, so I told them about Glencoe, and I was like, yeah, you can give them a look. But if I keep going on, it just causes a big hole in my tooth. Anyway, quit doing that, Max. So I got back, and that's when I started tinkering on the diorama a little bit, and then a few other things cropped up and had to take care of those. But long story short was, I figured, you know what, I'll do the recording this evening, and then of course, you know what, I'm just going to do it after dinner. Of course, I was still having some computer problems, which I think I've got ironed out. Ran a bunch of malware programs. I did some rescans, rebooted the machine a half dozen times, and I think I beat it into submission. And I don't know. It may be getting near time for a new PC. But so then during dinner, one of my, well, I don't want to bore you guys with details. A dental issue erupted out of the blue, and a reasonably serious one. Fortunately, the doctor's able to see me today, which I actually did not think would happen. But I've got it packed with that stuff used to temporary patch teeth. So, I'm not in any pain or anything right now. But I wouldn't be drinking my coffee. And I know some of you guys have got some things going on you've talked about, so I don't want to sit here and whine about that. I know some of you guys are fighting some battles of your own, and I want to wish everybody luck with those. It's kind of funny. I guess we are an older channel, and we spend half our time sitting around like that movie Grumpy Old Men, where they're in the fishing store, the bait and tackle shop. They're all comparing their ailments. My lumbago. Oh yeah, when I had the shingles, and I'm like, old age awaits us all. It's funny. You get older, you watch a movie like Grumpy Old Men. When I saw it and I was younger, I was like, that's funny. And you're older, like, oh yeah, I know what you mean. But anywho, I swear, the first thing that went through my mind when that happened was, the universe is trying to slow down my eating to help me lose weight. It'll even break my teeth to maybe, every knocks a boost. Maybe it's, maybe it's the universe looking out for me. I don't think so, but you look for the win where you can find it, right? As they say in The Life of Brian, one of the greatest songs ever written, look on the bright side of life. One of you magnificent viewers, and you know who you are, and I know who you are, sent me a bunch of CDs. Actually, several of you guys have sent me a bunch of CDs, but one of them sent me a bunch of parody songs and stuff, and The Life of Brian, Bright Side of Life was on there, and I usually have those playing in the background when I'm in the TARDIS, and when that song comes on, the more I listen to them, I realize, there's more truth in that song than you sometimes want to think about. Now, unfortunately, he's also got some parody songs, probably from the 60s and 70s, that maybe the 80s, that you could not get on air today. And sometimes when the weather's nice and the doors are open and the music's going, I'm like, man, I hope the neighbors don't hear that song. I didn't record it. It was on the radio. That's today. So despite my typhus injury, if you guys catch the joke typhus, I'll tell you about that at the end of this. I still want to get the audio recording done today, but if I do it, I'm going to have to do it early, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be Novocained up when I come back. And if I try to do it afterwards, aside from possibly biting my tongue, the narration probably goes something like, but that's the status as it is today. And I'm looking forward to digging into those Halifax kits. I'm kind of getting the itch to work on those, but I've got to finish that Twin Otter. But I have a bunch of kits laid out that I said, these are the ones that I was kind of prioritizing, not for any particular reason, but I don't think there's any reason you can't switch the order around. I mean, that's a funny thing. Question of the day. Have you ever been kind of involved in a kit model project, and it's making progress, you're doing okay, but then for whatever reason you find another kit, you come across another kit, and you just want to stop the one you're working on because you're all jazzed up to do this new one, but you feel like, no, I've started that, I need to finish it first, and you're kind of afraid if you put it away, it's going to lose momentum. I imagine we've all kind of had that happen. I've got that Buffalo and that Vostok that are still sitting there looking at me with judgmental eyes going, why do you leave us here half built? And of course the Launch Umbilical Tower is just, I said I was going to make a part a day on that, and that's not happening. Haven't touched that thing in a week. So I really appreciate a lot of you guys have said that, you open one kit, you focus on that kit, and you don't do anything else till that kit's done. I understand that completely. Me, I like to have several kits open so I can move around, but got so much going on that's I think I've got a few too many opened up. And anyway, that's what we have for today. And assuming I'm not all doped up on Novocaine and can still talk and have something to talk about, I'll be back tonight. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and model on.